Hi, welcome to a tutorial from Equaser.com. My name is Ahmad Shamshiri. In this tutorial we are going to learn how we can use this sharp scientific calculator EL-510. Let's get started with this. This is a compact and economically reasonable priced calculator that comes with a hard case, which is protecting it when you put it in your backpack. Otherwise the numbers will disappear. The calculator comes with a solar cell. When there is enough light, the battery will be not used and it will use the light. And the battery that this one uses EL-510, one piece. You can use a Phillips screwdriver to remove it. On the back we have a reset button where you can reset all the settings of the calculator. Calculator, if you compare it with other calculators, looks much shorter, which makes it fit in your pocket. We're going to learn everything about this calculator, and also I have separate videos explaining some other section of this calculator in detail. The link for those will be below the video. Then so you can see the buttons properly. The calculator has 11 characters and on the screen, and each character is 4 pixels by 7, so it can display more smoothly different characters or values that is needed, which we are going to see. Look at the buttons. The buttons have 2 labels. One label is on face of the button, the other is on the surface, and some of them will have 3 values. For example, here we have closing, and then this value and this value. And when you want, for example, to print pi, we will press this and it will print the pi on the screen. And if you want to print this square root, because this is golden color, all of these golden color values will be accessed using second function. So you put a second function and this button, and it will should display the square root for all of these. Some of the buttons has 3 values. For example, this one has mean or x bar, and then is n and all the other values. So this button has open in parenthesis x to the power -1, and so it has 3 functions which will be available when you go in a certain mode. Enter a value, for example 5. The value can be deleted using this button. The last value that you entered, you can press it and delete that button. If you have something on the screen, this C or on is clearing the screen. Now let's see how we can enter. For example, to enter 9 plus 4 times 3. In previous calculators you needed to put a parenthesis, but in this one you just enter it the way it is, and the order of operation is such that 4 multiplied by 3 first, and multiplication and division is first, and then addition and subtraction is last. So 4 times 3 is 12, 12 plus 9 is 21. And if you want to enter 2 plus -7, we cannot do this -7. We cannot use this -7, we have to use this minus in the parenthesis. So I'm pressing this -7, and it will work fine without a parenthesis. And as you can see, it shows -5, but I can also do 2 plus and then open parenthesis, -7, close parenthesis. This way also I can do it, but it's extra. That minus directly will work, and it will make it much easier. Now let's say we want to add 4 plus 3 over 2 plus 11, or divided by 2 plus 11, clear, open a parenthesis, 4 plus 3, close parenthesis, divided by open parenthesis 2 plus 11, and then press equal sign, and that is a result. To square some value, we press the number, for example 5. For a square, this is a second function of this button, x squared, second function x, and that is squared. You can press equal sign or continue with entering other values. If you want to do a cube, for cube, because it's used extensively, we have again dedicated button here, 5, second function, and then this, it will make it cube. And other than that, if you, let's say you want to do 4 to the power 8, so 4, and then this is xy, you just press it, and that is to the power, and then enter 8. But if you want to do 4 to the power 8 plus 2, then you have to do it differently. meaning you have to do open parenthesis 4 to the power 8 and then close it plus 2, otherwise the to the power 2 will be part of that. Because also base 10 is used in math extensively, you don't have to punch 10 to the power. We have a 10 to the power here, this button, which I'm going to press second function and 10. As you can see, it shows 10 to the power 3 and then equal sign, that's 1000. The same way as before, to be safe, if you have 10 to the power 3 plus 5, now we do it the same, but this time open parenthesis second function 10 to the power 3 close parenthesis plus 5. It will give you just 5 is added to the 1000. If you have comment or question, post it in the comment section below. I try to answer or reply. And don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. Now 4 to the power minus 1 means 1 over 4 in math. Because it's used extensively, you don't need to enter 4 and then to the power minus 1. We have a dedicated button which can be accessed with second function. So you press 4 and then second function minus 1, automatically minus 1 will be added, and you can do with your calculation. You really need to put a parenthesis here. If I press equal sign, that's the value, A over B. Now if you have 9 to the power 5, again all to the power 1 over 3, you would do it this way, open a parenthesis, 9 to the power 5 close parenthesis, again now put this 1 over 3 and then here 1 divided by 3. This 1 over 3 can be done in as before, equal sign, that's the value. Remember this value, 3894, and then let me go back. This way you can edit your equation, and I can press delete, and then here I can do 3 and then to the power minus 1. Remember 3 to the power minus 1 means 1 over 3. If you prefer, it's exactly the same value. Now if you have 5 squared plus 3 to the power 5, you will do it this way, as easy as that. 5 and then squared plus 3 to the power 5. Now if you want to enter improper fraction, add it with a proper fraction, we use this button. This means a proper fraction, D over C, and improper fraction, A, B over C. Now this improper fraction, to enter it, we use 3 and then this button and then 1 again and then 2. So this shows 3, 1 over 2 equal sign, that's a value. If you don't want to do the evaluation, just continue. We enter plus 5 over 6 and then equal sign. Now this is the result. If you want to see it as a decimal value, just press this button, it will be converted. Editing equation, I just mentioned, you can go back this way and you can do the editing. For example, if you want to replace 5 with something, we can do it 2 ways. Go this way and then delete, and then let's say replace it with 9. That is done. If you want to just enter something else here, just add, let's say, plus 6 or something you want to do, you can continue like that. Now let's see how we can do this type of calculation. Let me open the parenthesis, 4 second function squared plus 7, and then I'm going to use cube to make it cleaner, and then divided by 3 to the power minus 2, 3 to the power minus 2, I'm using this minus, and that's the value. Let's see how we can do this. Clear, open a parenthesis, 3 to the power minus, I'm using this minus 2 plus 5 to the power 0.6, and then close parenthesis, multiply by open parenthesis 45 plus 1, and that's the value. If you want to use or display pi, just press it and press equal sign will give you the value, but I can go back. Let's say once you enter pi, Once you enter pi, you can do some calculation with it. Euler number written like that, the e to the power 3, and it's pronounced Euler, O-I-L-E-R. To use that, because Euler is used a lot as a base, we have a dedicated button with second function e to the power, and then now I can enter 3, and that's the value. If you have comment or question, post it in the comment section below. I try to answer and reply. And don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. If you want to just get Euler, press Euler and make it to the power 1, and that's the actual value of Euler number. Now on the screen it says grad. If you want to change the type of angle unit, gradient, degree and radian, so radian, gradient and degree, just press this button and it will shift between the values. And let's say you want to calculate for sine of 45 degrees, make sure it is in degree, which is, now we press sine and then 45 equal sign, and it will give you the value. If you want to do cosine of pi over 2 radian, clear, now we have to go to radian before the calculation, cosine and then open parenthesis, pi divided by 2, and then equal sign, which is 0. Inverse of sine, let's say you want to find inverse of sine or arc sine of 1 over square root of 2. For inverse, we press shift here, inverse of sine, and then because it's complicated value, we have to open up close parenthesis. We can do a square root of 2 and then inverse it, or maybe 1 divided by second function square root of 2 and then close parenthesis, and it will give you the value. Because I'm in radian, it gives me the value in radian. Let me convert it to degree. Now if I press equal sign, the degree value. Now hyperbolic sine, sine hyperbolic of 45 degrees. To do that, this is the hyperbolic. You press hyperbolic sine. Once you press hype, you will see HYP here, and then when you press sine, cosine or tangent, that appropriate value will be displayed. And then 45 because it's in degree, so that's value. And if you need arc hyperbolic of any sine, cosine or tangent, or inverse of hyperbolic, you can do it the same way. Press second function this, now it shows a arc hype and then sine. So this shows sine hyperbolic to the power -1, which is inverse, and if it is in degree, you just enter the value, so that is a calculated value. To get log or logarithm of a value, we have a dedicated button for logarithm. Logarithm is a digit 1 second function, so I'm pressing second function and you will see log and then 12. It gives you the value, and that's natural logarithm or ln. If you want to do ln, ln is beside it, that 2 with second function, so ln is displayed 5, and it will give you the value. If you want to do some other calculation, press, and you can do plus something, continue. But if you want to do ln of 5 plus something, let me press delete, delete, open here, 5 plus 0.5 or something, you can do that as well. If we have Euler to the power -3, you can do the same way. So press second function and then Euler, and then open -3, I'm using this minus, that's the value. Let's see how we can do the square root of some value. Clear, second function, this, plus 9. Now this will take square root of 9, but if I go back, if you want to do plus 3, now this plus 3 creates problem. Let's see, it gives you 6. This understood, but if you want to do square root of 9 plus 3, then you can do this way and then close it. Now 9 plus 3, 12. Now this will be square root of 12. If you want to do cube root of something, we have a dedicated cube root here. For cube root, second function and negative sign, so I'm using second function negative sign, that's cube root of 27, gives you the value. But if you want to do other than square than cube, let's say other value, you can do that as well. Here we have square root with a x in front of it. So you enter 5 and then second function on this. So this way 5 is on the other side, and then 1, 2, 5, and that is the fifth root of 125. If you have comment or question, post it in the comment section below. I try to answer or reply. And don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. Now let's see how we can do the factorial. Factorial is when you see 4 with a factorial sign with exclamation mark, it actually means 1 times 2 times 3 times 4. And we have here n factorial type 4 and second function factorial. So put the number first and then factorial sign, and that's the value. 10 picked 3 or 10p3. For that we use this npr here, which means a value and then p and then r. So you enter 10 plus second function and then this 6, and that 3, so will give you the value. Now let's say you want to see the combination or chance of picking 6 out of 49, which is now used in lottery. You will see that chances. So 49 second function and this C, this with a 5 second function, and 6. Now it shows 13.9 million, so which means 1 in 14 million is the chance. So you see how low is the chance of winning. Now let's see how we can enter. If you have 5 times 10 to the power 2, this is a scientific notation. For that we have 5 and then this button automatically times 10 to the power and then put 2. That's a value. Let's see how we can convert 90 degrees to radian. Now because we are entering 90 degrees, it must be in degree. We are in degree, so 90 degrees. And then we press second function and then this 3, this drg. Now it gives you in radian and it shows 1.57 and it shows in radian. And if I press second function and this button again, it will give me in gradient. 100 radian to gradient. Make sure you are in radian, so press it in radian and then 3.6 radiant, and you want to convert it to gradient, press second function and this, it is gradient. If not, press second function again. Now it goes to degree, and as you see in radian, because we entered, and press second function, so you can go over and over again. 35 degrees now to gradient, all clear. So make sure that you're in gradient because you want it 35, and then press and then press. Now let's see how we can use the answer button. For example, you have 4 plus 6, that is 10, and if you press clear, the answer button is here. We can press it again, answer, and press equal sign to see it. Clear. If you don't want to just see it and add it with something, let's say answer, I'm pressing answer plus 12, you can add it. Now let's see how we can store the value in a memory. So 4 plus 6, and this memory has plus minus. You can add or subtract. If you want to add to the memory, press this. Now add is, this is added, and then we will see the M here. When this M is here, it shows that we have a stored value in memory. To get the memory back, press recall and then this button, recall, and it will give you. Because we have M here, it shows we have a value. And if you want to clear the memory, just put 0 and then press store and M. This button store means store in this value, in this button, and recall means recall. If you use store, it will put whatever value you have and replace everything in the memory and will replace it for you. But if you just press plus, it means whatever value is in the memory, keep it and then add the value. For example, let's say put 10 and then store M. Now if I go recall, that is 10. Now if I add 2 plus this, add this, now if I recall it, it is 12. But if I have now 40 and then store M, this will not be added. It will be just 40. Recall M, that's 40. So store is replacing it, plus is adding it. And if you use now it's 40, if I do 2 second function negative M, if I clear it and then recall, you will see 38. 2 have been subtracted because I used that one. And let's say you want to do 5 times 3 and then save it. 5 times 135, 5 times. So first let's clear the memory, 0, and then store. It is cleared. If you have comment or question, post it in the comment section below. I try to answer and reply. And don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. So 5 times 135, and then you can do plus because there is nothing. This has been now saved. And then you want to add 8 times 1325, 8 times 1.23, and then plus, just add it, and let's say 1398 plus 35, add it, it just adds it. 5 times 135, 5 times 135 again. Recall the memory, we press recall M, and that is the value. Now if you want to do some calculation with the memory, you can do alpha. This alpha means second function, and then alpha, and then M. So this way you are bringing M on the screen, and then let's say plus 1 to 4, as I mentioned here. So press equal sign, that is added to the memory. See how we can do the greatest common divisor, or GCD, and you want to find out the GCD of 24 and 36. So you do 24 for GCD. We have this GCD, press second function GCD, and then the next value 36 equal, and that's greatest common divisor. And if you want to do least common multiple, or LCM, the same way we have LCM 15, second function LCM, and then 19. So you get that. Now let's see how we can convert polar and rectangular. I will have separate video explaining with multiple examples, but in this one, let's say you want to convert, you have r and theta. R is the radius, theta is the angle in degrees, and you want to find x and y. We have to be in degree, which we are. If not, just press this. So we are in degree. So r is 6, and then we press second function in this comma here. We put comma, and then 36.8. Now to convert it to x and y, we press second function, and then this x and y. Now it gives you x, which is 4.8 something. And after that, if you want to get your next values, and then you can press this with a shift, answer with a shift, and it will give you y. If you press it again, it gives you x. All clear? Now let's say you have x and y, and you want to find r and theta. Same way, we can enter 14 and second function this comma, and then for y press 10. This time we are going for r and theta, second function r and theta. Now I'm pressing second function with this comma. It gives me the theta 35 degrees. Pay attention to the angle, it must be the same, otherwise. Now all clear. Now we have r and theta, and you pay attention here, we have r and theta, x and y. If you want to access any of these alphabet or symbols, we press alpha. We can press recall and r. It gives you the value. That was the r that we entered from x and y, from last calculation, r and angle, and last value y, and then x. Now if you want to bring those values in your calculation and use them, you can use alpha, which is a shift, second function shift. Now you see alpha, and then let's say you want to use x in your calculation, x plus something or some other calculation, you can continue like that. Now let's see how we can do this 2 decimal. Let's say hour, minute and seconds. So we have degree, minute and seconds. So we enter 14, press this button, that is degree, and then 40, that's minute, and then 16.2, that is the second, and then press equal sign. After this, you can press second function and convert it to the decimal. So that is decimal value. And if you have decimal value converted to this, then we will have 176.34, and then press this, and you will convert it to the actual value, that DCM. If you have comment or question, post it in the comment section below. I try to answer and reply. And don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. Now let's see how we can do the statistics, some basic statistic calculation. Let's say we have a data these are set of data that we have, which is 95, 80, 75, 75, and 50. This is our n. To go to statistic, we press second function in mode, and mode is currently 0. If I press 1, you will see a stat. We are now switching to statistic. To change it back, press mode and then 0. This goes back to normal calculation, and then 1. Now we are in statistics. Now let's enter 95. Just press 95, and this data button is here. Press it. It says in 1 that was stored, 80, in 2, 75, and then 75 and 75 3 times, and then we have 50. The value have been entered. Now x is our data, and n is number of samples. And now to find out the mean, we press recall and then mean. Mean is here. That is the mean of the value. And if you want to get standard deviation of the population, we have the sign here, recall, and that is the population standard deviation. And if you want to get sum of samples, this is the sum here. I am pressing it with recall. That's the sum of sample. And if you need to get the square of sum of sample, that is the square of sum of sample here with recall. And if you want to get sample standard deviation, we have this s of x, and we can press recall. That is the value here. So this calculator cannot show it. And if you recall n will show you how many sample you have, 6. So now let's have a look at the errors that you're getting. For example, if you get error 1, it's an invalid operator. It means, let's say you did not enter any value and you want to convert it to radius and theta, and let's say you just press second function radius and theta, it will give you error 1. And error 2 it happens when you divide something by 0. 5 divided by 0, you will get error 2. Or if you have exceeded a value, let's say 10 to the power 100, 10 to the power 100, you get error because that's too big. And error 3 is buffer, which means you did a lot of calculation, and the number 4 is actually long equation. And here's one more thing that we have here is random number. If you press second function on this, it will generate random number. If you press equal sign continuously, it will give you a decimal point random number. Thank you for watching. This was how to use fully this calculator. If you learned something and found this useful, please thumb up. If you have comment or question, post it in the comment section below. I try to answer and reply. And don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it.